Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Learn Canadian English lesson. My name's Teacher Ian. I'm here to teach you English, and I'm really happy that you could join us. Thank you if you're joining live. Thank you if you're watching the recording, and I can't wait to hear from all of you. But before we begin, as always, I'd like to make our land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge that Right Start Newcomer Services conducts business in Chibuktuk, which is how you say Halifax in the Mi'kmaq language. This city is part of the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This means that when settlers came, the Indigenous people did not surrender their territory and instead signed treaties with Europeans. As a business, we're committed to upholding these treaties as we continue to build relationships between settlers, newcomers, and Mi'kmaq people. So, hi everybody, if anybody is out there. Say hi in the chat, ask questions as we go, answer questions as we go. Yeah, sorry about last week. So if any of you tuned in on Thursday, what was it, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday last week, we had to cancel the class because there were some technical difficulties. It was a problem to do with our live streaming service, but now it looks like it's fixed. It looks like everything's working properly. So here we are. If anybody is watching, please say hello. Please ask your questions in the chat, all of that good stuff. So today's lesson is going to school in Canada. This is an important lesson if you have kids here in Canada who are starting school. I believe they started school last week in most provinces in Canada. And maybe this is useful for you if you are planning to come to Canada to study. But mainly we're going to be talking about kids, their schooling. We've got a parent-teacher activity later and some other really good stuff. So let's just go through today's lesson outline. So like I said, we're going to be first talking about school. We'll have a little discussion. I like to start the lessons hearing from you guys, so you can answer some questions and ask questions if you feel like it. We're going to do a reading and vocabulary activity. So we're going to talk a little bit about schools in Canada and learn some vocabulary related to that topic. After that, we're going to do some grammar. So we're going to talk about, making sentences related to possibility and probability. So that means how likely are you to do something? Are you a little bit likely? Are you very likely? Are you definitely going to do it? And then we have a cool listening activity. It's a parent-teacher interview with a parent and a teacher discussing a child's progress in school. I hope that's good for you guys. Let's move on. I see we have some people joining us now. We are going to talk about school a little bit. So we have 6 questions for you guys to practice your English. Okay, number 1, you can read them through on your own if you feel like answering and practicing your English. Type your answers with the number of the question that you're answering. All right, so number 1, what was your favorite subject in elementary school? Man, for me, that was a long time ago. That was like 40 years ago almost. But, I think my favorite subject at that time was art. I used to like to draw, so maybe art was my favorite subject. But what about you guys? Number 2, did you go to college or university, and what did you study? For me, I did go to university twice. I went once in Vancouver, so I went to the University of British Columbia, and I studied economics, so that was my major. But I also started studying, first I was in science, and then I was in math, and then I switched to economics finally, because I did not do so well in science and math. Economics seemed to be something that I was more interested in. And then later I went back to school and got my master's in education. in Nova Scotia. All right, number 3, do you plan to go back to school someday? What would you take? So if you want to go to college or university now that you're an adult, what would you want to study? Maybe you want to come to Canada and study English or something else here. Let us know about that plan. Number 4, describe the school system where you are. So tell us something. So how many grades? Is it a good school system, bad school system? What can you tell us about that? Number 5, do your kids go to school? Do you have kids? And what grades are they in? And then finally, why is school important? So I would love to hear that from you guys. So I'll give you, let's say, 2 or 3 minutes to read the questions, write some kind of answer in the comment section. That would be great. Or if you can just say hi, that's awesome too. So I see we have a student. Pilar is here. Hello, Pilar. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. I am well. I'm well rested after the weekend. So glad you could come back. And again, sorry about last week. There were some technical difficulties on Thursday, so we had to cancel our class then. So I'd like to hear from you. If anybody has an answer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, put it in the chat. We'll talk about it and we will look at your spelling and grammar. Hey, Bay. Okay, so we have some answers from Bay. So number 1, what was your favorite subject in elementary school? Portuguese. I know Bay is in Brazil, so they studied Portuguese as their first language, I assume. So you did well in Portuguese. Great. And 2, did you go to college or university? Yes, Bay did, and she studied psychology. Very interesting topic. I remember first year in university, I took a psychology class. It was super interesting, but I never majored in that. And number 3, do you plan to go back to school someday? Never. Okay, so Bay is done with school. I think I agree with that. I'm also done with school, I think, but you never know. Maybe something will come along that I really want to study. But yeah, I hear you, Bay. Pretty much, I think I'm done with school too. Okay, thank you for answering, Bay. Great answers. Does anybody else have any answers to any of these questions? Or you can ask your own question. If you guys have a better question, put it in the chat and we'll discuss that instead of my questions. All right, so another minute or so before we move on. If you're just joining us, welcome, guys. So we're just talking about these 6 questions. If you have an answer, throw it in the chat. Or if you have another question, you can put that in the chat too. What happened to the summer? Okay, I mean, summer feels like it just started and now it's gone and we're into September already. Kids are back to school. University students are back. Time just flies like crazy. Okay, so Pilar has some answers. So Pilar studied biology at Universidad de Valle, I don't know how to pronounce that, in Colombia. I'm a biologist, okay? I had a master's degree in biological science. That is great, Pilar. So great English. You said, though, that you had a master's degree. Actually, you can say I have a master's degree because you got it, right? So that's in the past. You got it a while ago, but you will always have that, right? You will always have that degree. So you can just say I have a master's. We might also put master's. Master's. I forget if it's capital. I think it is usually capitalized. So we would say like a master's apostrophe S degree from wherever, right? But again, you will always have it, right? You don't lose it. So don't use the past tense. It's better to use the present tense. Okay, so I have a master's degree in biological science. Very good. Okay, Very good, Pilar. You got it now. Thank you for answering. Great answers. Christian is here. Hey, Christian, how's it going, man? Good to see you again. Welcome to today's class. And let's have one or two more answers for these questions, and then we can move on. It's kind of nice. I get to be back in the classroom. It's been a while since I've actually been in a physical classroom due to COVID and me leaving my job. So it is kind of nice, even if it's just pretend to be back in the classroom today. And you guys, of course, are the best students in the world. So I'm really happy to be in the class with you guys. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nobody else is going to answer. Going, gone. Time is up. All right. Anyway, this is good practice. So just chatting a little bit about school. I mean, it's a good small talk topic, right? If you are going to school, it's a good thing to talk about. If you have kids in school, maybe you can talk to another parent about that. So it's a good icebreaker topic. It's a good conversation topic, talking about school. All right. And Christian has some answers. That's great. So Christian also studied biology. Interesting. I think you meant, and I have a master's degree in biological sciences. I also have a degree in geographic information systems. Smart guy. Okay, you guys are really smart. So biology, biological sciences, geographic information systems. Sounds like you guys are a lot smarter than I am. So great answer. Great English, Christian. Good job. And Maria says hi to everybody. Hi, Maria. Welcome back. And I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Okie dokie. Let's move on. So let's learn a little vocabulary. This is sort of more of a reading activity. So what we're going to do now is fill in the blanks using the correct word. Maybe there's different words that would fit. So it's sort of a short little reading. There are 12 words that we have to figure out and put into our paragraphs. So let's do the first one together to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You can read through on your own. I'll read through the first part. Children in Canada usually start something at age 4. So what's the school called or the class called when children are 4 years old here in Canada? And then moving on, when they are 5, they enter what? What is that level called at age 5? Then they must complete 12 something. They usually finish blank when they are 17 or 18 years old. They are required to take a number of blank, such as math, English, French, and science. If they don't blank all of their classes, they may blank a grade and have to repeat it. After high school, students can choose to attend a blank institution. If they want to become a doctor or teacher, they can go to blank and get a blank. Instead, if they want to become a cook or a mechanic, they can go to a blank and get a blank. So put in the numbers. If you think you know what number 7 is, put a number 7 and then put your answer. If you think you know 8 or 9 or 10, put in those answers and we'll see how we do. All right, so Victor's here. Hey, Victor, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back to the live stream. And let's start with Christian. So kindergarten, very good. I think it's with a T though. Kindergarten is with a T. I know we pronounce it kindergarten, but garten, let me check that. One moment. Un momento, por favor. Kindergarten. Yes, I was right. Okay, so it is kindergarten. Kindergarten. All right, we learned something new. So kindergarten is sort of before school starts. And usually it's optional here in Canada. So at age 4, you can send your child to kindergarten. And now they have something called pre-primary class. In a lot of the provinces in Canada, that is a paid for service, paid for by the government. But kindergarten could start at age 3, maybe 3, 4. And it's usually before children start their regular school. All right, so you got it. Very good. Victor also, yes, I would take that. Preschool is sort of another word for kindergarten. So let's write that in too. I will accept preschool or kindergarten because they're the same thing. All right, great. Moving on. When they're 5, they enter elementary. So Maria wrote kinder. The full word is kindergarten, right? So you got the first part, Maria, but the full word is kindergarten. Elementary, not quite Christian. So you got kindergarten too. Great, just the spelling is Garten with a T. Himena is here. Hi, Himena. Welcome to the class. Awesome. Bea, you corrected it with a T. I still haven't seen the exact answer that I'm looking for number 2. So when they're 5, they enter. I don't see anybody who wrote it. So here it's called primary. All right, so primary is the grade level before they start grade 1. So usually around 5, I think every province in Canada and the territories have a primary class. So children must start in school at age 5, and they have to start primary before they start through the different grades. All right, and let's see. Number 3, I think Christian got that one. So grades. Good job, Christian. And let's do number 4. They usually finish blank when they're 17 or 18 years old. And I think Christian got that one too. So high school. All right, so high school, that's 2 O's. Sorry, my writing's kind of messy. O-O-L. Okay. So here, it is mandatory. Well, I think, school is mandatory up until age 16. It isn't really required that you finish all of high school, but you have to attend school up till age 16. If you wanted to drop out at age 16 and not finish high school, I think that is an option, although it's probably not the best idea. So number 4 is high school. When they're 17 or 18 years old, they're required to take a number of courses. Okay, courses, works. Is there another word besides courses? Let's put courses in here. What else would we call the things like math, English, French, and science? Those are, besides courses, we can also say, starts with S, subjects. Okay, Pilar, very good. You read my mind. Subjects. Great. So I think they both work. I think courses, you can say number of courses or number of subjects. Classes, sure, it's kind of the same. So let's say subjects. Okay, great, Bay, great, Christian, great, Pilar. That's awesome. How about number 6? I see a couple people put in number 6. Christian, I think, was first. So pass. I like that one. So if they don't pass all of their classes, they may what? A grade. So if you don't pass all or most of your classes with a high enough score, you have to repeat the grade, and we call that the opposite of pass. So the opposite of pass is, starts with F. Good guess, Christian. So you said lose a grade. Not quite what I'm looking for. So instead of lose, let's use an F word, a 4-letter F word, not the one you might be thinking of. Nobody got it. All right, I'll put it in. Oh, crap. Shoot, I lost it again. So the answer is fail. Fail a grade. Okay, Christian got it. Hey, Najman's here. Nice to see you, Najman. Yes, the answer is fail a grade and have to repeat it. Maria, I think that is Spanish reprobar. Yep, let's aim for the English word, but I think it is the same. That is correct in Spanish. So English, we'll say fail a grade. Moving on. So the next paragraph, after high school. So once you're finished high school, students can choose to attend a something institution. University, not exactly what I'm looking for. So this means like after high school. So it's a little bit of a hard term. I'll give you the first part. Post. Post what? So, elementary school might be elementary. Then you have high school, which is also known as secondary school. And then afterwards, you can go to a post institution. Good guess. Post school. Good guess. All right, Najmun got it. So post secondary. Very good. So if you think of elementary school as like elementary, the first school, high school as secondary school, and then post-secondary means after secondary or after high school institution. And there are a number of different kinds of post-secondary institutions that people can choose from. Post-school, good try, Pilar. Okay, great, Bay. I think those are for the next ones, and Pilar gets it. All right, so I think Bay answered the next ones. If they want to become a doctor or teacher, they can go to university. So depending on what you want to do, that will influence which school you want to go to. If you want to become a professional like a doctor or lawyer, you have to go to a university, right? You don't really have a choice. And what do you get from a university? Finally, they give you a piece of paper. So good guess, Maria. Actually, I'm looking for university. And Christian got university, and you do get degrees from a university. And we talked about that a little bit in the beginning. So some people were mentioning they have master's degrees or bachelor degrees. Universities give out degrees, either a 4-year bachelor degree, or it could be, a master's degree or PhD. Those take a varying amount of time. Great. Instead, if they want to be a cook or mechanic, they can go to a college. So here in Canada, we have sort of like public colleges. They're called like community colleges or different names across Canada, depending on where you live. Sometimes they're called like technical colleges. Those are government funded. They're pretty cheap to attend, and they have a lot of really good programs. Here in Nova Scotia, it's NSCC. So Nova Scotia Community College. But they don't give degrees. So depending on, what you study in college, you're going to get another document called a good guess, Christian, technical degree, base guess degree as well. There's another word for like a shorter 1-year or 2-year program. So if I went to study to be a car mechanic, they would give me this thing. It's not a degree because only universities can give a degree. It is called starts with D. Any guesses? The I. Okay. Najmun is rocking it today. So diploma. Okay. Maybe because you had a really good teacher for your Introduction to Nova Scotia program, Najmun. Good guess, Pilar, postgraduate certificate. Jimena guessed postgraduate certificate. Very good. So I think there are two, right? So if it's a one-year program you take out of college, it's usually called a certificate. I think one-year programs are called certificates. So you can get a certificate in hotel management or a certificate in cooking or something like that. If it's a 2-year program, it's probably going to be called a diploma, right? But, colleges here in Canada are not allowed to give out degrees as far as I know. And there are also some private colleges that you can attend. So like business colleges or computer colleges or things like that. They are maybe, they might be faster. They might be shorter programs. So you might be able to study for 6 months and get a certificate or diploma, but they're usually a lot more expensive than the government-funded community colleges. Okay, Najman. For sure, that was Ian Shepherd. Okay, that was a little joke. Najman was my client at ISANS, and she was in our Introduction to Nova Scotia class there. So we talked about all this stuff. When was that? A couple years ago at least, Najman, that you were in that class. Good for you for remembering all the vocabulary. All right, so good work. These are some terms that are really important for understanding the school system here in Canada. If you have any questions about those, let me know. And we'll get a little bit more practice as we go through the rest of the lesson. All right, here we are. So let's talk a little bit about grammar, not too much. I just wanted to practice a little bit about possibility and probability. So how would you say something might happen, something will happen, or there's a good chance that something might happen? First of all, there are many ways to indicate possibility. So there are some terms like might, or may, or probably, or could, or likely to. So these expressions are really good to learn when you're trying to express how likely something is to happen. Are there other ones that we might use to indicate that something is possible or probable? Maybe you can make a sentence, right? So how likely are you to study in Canada? So here's a question for everybody. How likely are you to study in Canada? You can use one of these words. You can say might, may, probably, could, or likely to, or you can make your own. So for me, at my age, I'm 43. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. So I would say I'm not very likely to study again in Canada. Or I could say there is a 15% chance I will study in Canada. Or I could say I might study, but I probably won't, right? So there's a bunch of different ways I could answer that question. And let's hear what you guys have to say. So Christian says, I might get a certificate in NSCC in geographical sciences. Very cool, Christian. Right. So you already have a degree or diploma in this, but maybe you want to come to Canada for immigration purposes. Maybe it helps you to study here, and that might help you to immigrate and get a job after. So I think that's a great plan, Christian. So if I was reading that, I'd say, maybe there's a 50% chance that Christian is going to study at NSCC. right? So it's around 50%. It's not leaning one way or the other. Okay, great. So Maria, I could like to study in Canada. Okay, very good. Let's just change one word. So instead of I could like, how about I would like? So if you say I would like to study in Canada, that means that you have not really a plan, but you have the intention to study. It's something that you would like to do. But could doesn't really work in this case. So it's better to say I would like to study in Canada. Okay, and then you can just say I would like to study in Canada to be a teacher. You don't have to say for. So I would like to study in Canada to be a teacher. And then that would be a perfect sentence, Maria. Okay, great. So it is important that you practice expressing possibility or probability in a bunch of different ways. And it's also important that you understand, like, when somebody else is using this language. Let's do one more activity. So we're going to look at a few more sentences. Basically, I wrote, I think, 7 sentences, and you have to put them in order from not likely to very likely. So the first one will be probably no, this person is not going to do it. After, as you go through, it's more and more likely to do this thing. And Pilar has an answer. I may study the same as Christian at you meant NSCC. I may study the same as Christian at NSCC. Oh, okay, great. So you two could be classmates. So Pilar and Christian, you may take the same program at NSCC. That would be pretty cool if you guys met here in Right Start Newcomer Services classes, and then later you became students together at NSCC. That would be very cool. And if you guys do come to Halifax, make sure you do our city tour. We do free city tours every couple of weeks. You can book them on our website, and it'd be really cool to see you guys face to face. All right, awesome. So let's move on. Let's do this activity. Read the sentences. Then I want you to put the numbers in order from, say, like 0% to 100% likelihood. All right, so from 0% to 100%. First one, I might not go to college next year. I'm very likely to go to college next year. I'm probably not going to college next year. There's no way in hell I'm going to college next year. I'm 100% sure I'm going to college next year. And there's a good chance I'm going to college next year. Maybe there were just 6 of them. Yep. So there were 6 in total. Put them in order from 0% to 100% likelihood that I'm going to college next year. So which one is 0%? No, I'm not going to college. Oh, okay. So I may study the same as Christian at NSCC. He is my husband. Okay, so I guess you guys won't be meeting for the first time. I did not know that you were husband and wife. That's pretty funny. Okay, so that would be cool. Husband and wife studying the same thing at NSCC. That's awesome. Okay, great. So here we go. Which is the first one? I think number 4. So there's no way in hell. That's a very strong way to say no chance, no way, not happening, never, forget about it, don't even mention it, it's not happening, right? So let's say number 4 is the first one. What would come next? So which one is saying probably not, right? Or it's not a likely thing. Okay, Bay has a whole bunch. So she put 5 first. Oh, maybe you did the opposite, Bay. So you went from 100% to 0%. Okay, now that makes sense. So I think everybody can agree 4 is the least, and then maybe 3. I think a lot of people are saying 3. So Bay said 3. Jimena said 3. Christian said 3. Let's go with 3 next. So number 4, no way in hell. Number 3, I'm probably not. So maybe there's a 15% chance or 20% chance I'm going to college next year, but it's not very likely. Great. And after that, what did you say, Bay? You said 2. Oh, that's the opposite. So 4, 3, 1. Might not. All right. So I might or I might not. Those are pretty much the same thing. So it's leaning a little bit more to the negative. So it's saying like maybe 40% I might go to college. Right. So I agree with you, Bay. 1 should be the next one. So 4, 3, 1. And Maria said the first is number 2. So very likely is probable. So you probably will be going to college. Number 1 is 50%. Yeah, I think 1 is 40 to 50%. I might not go is pretty much the same as I might go. But maybe there's an expectation that you're supposed to go. Like maybe you're 19 years old, you just finished high school, and you say to your parents, hey, mom and dad, I might not go to college next year because there's an expectation that you probably should go. If you're that age and you finish high school, you're probably expected to go, at least here in Canada. All right, Jimena has a whole bunch of answers. So 4, 3, 1, 6. Good chance. Yeah, I think, let's say 6 is probably next. So next will be 6. Good chance. So probably at least 75% chance that you are going to do that. And I agree with that, Christian. So there's probably a 75% chance that you're going to college next year. And then Christian says number 2. So very likely. So very likely or very probably is probably around 85, 80, 90% even. Even 95%. You are very likely to go. So let's say number 2 next. And then we are left with the last one. 100% sure. So for number 5, there is no possibility that I'm not going to college. I'm definitely going, for sure I'm going, absolutely I'm going, and nobody's going to stop me from going. Really great job, you guys. So you did an awesome job. Great answers. Sorry if I didn't get to absolutely everyone's answer. So you're right, Jimena, that would be the last one. You guys did a great job. But these expressions are super useful. And it's super useful for using them, understanding them, and, affixing like a percentage to those sentences is really useful too. So you can think, okay, if somebody says I'm probably not going to do something, then there's a 30% chance that they're going to do it. If someone says there's no way in hell I'm going to help you move on the weekend, don't expect them to come and help you move your stuff. All right. So understanding them, super important, but also being able to use them and expressing possibility and probability is super important. All right, we are going to move on to today's last activity, and we're going to do a listening activity. So we've done some vocabulary work, we've done some discussion, we've done a bit of reading, we did a bit of grammar. Let's move on to a listening activity to talk about a parent-teacher interview. Parent-teacher interviews are common in Canada, so I don't know what it's like in your country. Just let me know if parent-teacher interviews are common where you guys are. It's an opportunity for parents to talk to teachers, to meet them, and to discuss their children's behavior and progress in school. So they usually happen, I'd say, 2 or 3 times a year. I don't have kids myself, but I believe, at the beginning of the year, there's sort of like a meet and greet. Parents can go in and meet the teachers. And then usually when the report card comes out, maybe at, November or December, there's a parent-teacher meeting to discuss, how the children did in their first semester. And then at the end of the year, there's another one, or maybe one in March or something like that. If you have kids here in Canada in school, let me know when the parent-teacher meetings usually are. But I believe there's at least 2 per year. And what about where you live? Are they common where you live? And then we're going to move on and do a listening activity. Basically, it's going to be a parent talking to a teacher, and I have a list of questions for you guys to answer about the listening. But before we begin, answer that question. Are parent-teacher interviews common where you are? And if somebody has kids here in Canada, let me know how many parent-teacher interviews there are and when they happen. I have to keep moving so you guys don't think it's frozen. If I just sit here like this, you'll think, oh, my internet's down. So that's why I'm sort of moving around a little. No answers? So is this a new concept? Okay, cool. So Bay said it's common here in Brazil, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Great. So on those days, you actually go in, you meet the teachers face to face. Maybe not last year because of COVID. Maybe you did it online or by phone, but hopefully we'll get back and do the face-to-face ones here. Okay, thank you for answering, Bay. That's great. And Jimena says, yes, it's common. Okay, great. And where are you, Jimena? Which country are you in? Pilar said the parent-teacher interviews are common in Colombian schools. Great. And Christian says we don't have kids, but usually like every 3 months. Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I don't have kids either. So I'm just guessing. I think it's twice a year with one like introductory meeting at the beginning of the school year. Okie dokie. So let's practice our listening. This will be fun. I have some questions. Let's go through the questions. So take a few seconds. Okay, great. Thank you, Maria. So in Mexico, we have a meeting every 2 months. Great. So each 2 months, let's say every 2 months would be a little bit more correct. Awesome. 2 months, that's pretty often. Jimena says, I'm from Colombia, but I'm living in Chile. Okay, very cool. 2 countries I would love to visit. All right, thank you, Jimena. Great, so read through these questions. Don't answer them yet because you haven't listened to the conversation. I'll play the conversation. It'll be really good listening practice. Maybe I'll play it twice because it's a little bit fast. And then we'll see if you can answer the questions. Okay, you're welcome, Maria. All right, everybody ready? You read through the questions. Let me just get the listening activity ready to go. Hi, you must be. All right, so I'm going to rewind that. Turn up the volume so everybody can hear. Everybody clean out your ears. Ready to listen, ready to answer these questions. You can also take notes. So if you want to take notes as we go, that's a really good skill for practicing. So taking notes and then using them to answer the questions afterwards. All right, here we go. Hi, you must be Mrs. Wong. Come on in.
Hi there. Please call me Karen.
Hi, Karen. I'm Mr. Jackson, but you can call me Michael. Why don't we have a seat over here? So, I guess we're here to talk about your daughter, Grace. Do you have any questions or anything before we start?
No, I'm just curious about how she's doing.
Grace, well, as you know, she's a lovely little girl. She's very kind and sweet and funny, and she gets along with all of her classmates really well.
That's great.
Yeah. There are a few problems, though, that I've been noticing.
Problems?
Yeah, well, she doesn't really pay attention that well when I'm teaching.
Maybe it's you.
Well, the other children don't have a problem. So I think, the main problem is where she's sitting. She gets distracted easily by her friends, and she doesn't pay attention, and she's not doing that well on spelling or math.
Okay, well, she's kind of like her mother in that way. I never did well with math either.
Well, maybe it would be good if you could help her a bit at home. So either you or somebody else in the family could help her a bit with her homework, just so she gets more interested in class. And I'd also like her to start sitting in the front of the classroom.
Okay, what do you think about a tutor?
Sure, yeah, you could think about that, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. Maybe, yeah, just make sure that she's getting some help with her homework, and I'll make sure that she sits in the front of the class.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any questions?
No, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was a little bit long, a little bit difficult. See if you can answer the question. So just having the one playthrough, see if you can answer any of those questions, put your answers in the chat. We can play it again. So yeah, we will play it again, but see if you can get any of those initial answers. I know we were recording this, so that was my voice and my wife. Near the end of it, our cat came close and you could hear her purring a little bit near the end. So hopefully that didn't take away from this listening activity. Okay, so what were the people's names who were talking? All right, we've got a couple answers. So Christian said Karen and Michael. Right, so Karen was the parent. Michael was the teacher. Very good. Don't forget capital letters, Christian, great. And great, except for spelling of Michael. Usually it would be M-I-C-H-A-E-L. M-I-C-H-A-E-L would be how you spell Michael. That's a really good skill, is to be able to spell, Canadian names. So Karen's very common, Michael's very common. Tons of people have these names in Canada. So being able to spell them correctly is a really important skill, I think. Okay, great. Himana, Karen, and Michael, great. Don't forget capital letters. Mr. Jackson, yeah, it's kind of a joke. Michael Jackson, right? I know I'm a joker. Karen and Michael, whoa, Bay, you rocked it. You answered, I think, almost all of them. So I don't want to give everybody the answers just yet, Bay. So hold on to that and we'll check those later. Who are they talking about? Karen's daughter. Good. Check your spelling, Christian. D-A-U-G-H-T-E-R. Karen, I forget Karen's last name. Michael Jackson was the teacher. And let me see. So who are they talking about? Grace. So Karen's daughter, Grace, which also happens to be the name of my cat. Karen's daughter, Grace. Yes, Grace. So Grace is the child's name. And let's go back to Bay's answer. So what are the child's strengths? She's lovely, she's kind, she's funny, she's sweet. So she sounds like a very, very nice girl. Right? She's got a lot of positive characteristics. Christian says she's a sweet child. She's very nice, happy, kind, and funny. But she does have a couple of weaknesses. So sometimes during these parent-teacher interviews, the teacher will say a few negative things that the child can work on improving. Try not to punch the teacher in the face or yell at them. They're just trying to help your child. All right, so sweet, lovely girl. Number 5, not good at all, blames the teacher as usual. Yeah, so sometimes, some parents are a little bit defensive and they say, how dare you say something about my child? My child is the best. My child is number 1. They're just trying to help, right? I mean, no child is perfect. They can all use some feedback and ways of improving. So great. Child doesn't pay attention. I think you're missing an N in attention. She's bad at math and spelling. I don't know if he said she's bad, but she could improve, right? Teachers are so careful. They're not going to say, your child's bad or your child is stupid. They're going to say she needs some extra help or she needs some extra support to become better at these things. So teachers are really good about being very careful about their language. Great. So let's go back to Bay's answers. So this is some of her weaknesses. She doesn't pay attention when Michael Jackson is teaching. Maybe he's got to dance more. He's got to do some of his dance moves to get her attention. She gets distracted and doesn't pay attention. Okay, so her main challenge is focusing on the teacher and paying attention during the class. Okay, great. And where were we? How does the parent react? That was Christian's answer. Not good at all. The parent was a little bit defensive. I don't know if you know that word, defensive. I'll type it in here. So when you are defensive, you say, oh, how can you say that? Or not my daughter. She's a princess. She's so smart. She's the best little girl in the whole world. She got a little defensive and said, maybe it's you. Maybe it's the way that you're teaching my daughter. It can't be my daughter's fault. So she was a little bit defensive and she was a little bit angry and she wasn't happy with the teacher for daring to say something about her little girl. So parent didn't react that well, but she didn't yell, she didn't swear, she didn't punch the teacher in the face. So she reacted okay, but it's okay to be a little bit upset. Yeah, you're right, Christian. Sometimes parents do blame the teacher. And where were we? Okay, let's go to the next one, number 6. What does the teacher suggest? So the teacher made a couple of suggestions. Your answer, Jimena, somebody to help her do her homework at home. Exactly, good. So no S on homework, just homework. Somebody should help her with her homework, usually a parent. So it's best if a parent does that instead of a tutor or teacher. Parent is there to help them. They're allowed to help their children at home with homework. Great. So Christian said more parents' attention at home, have to do more work at home. So just a little bit more attention with the parents. And what did Bay say? Family could help her with homework and she should sit. Very good. No S on sits. She should sit in the front of the class. So the teacher suggests 2 things. 1, get more help at home. 2, she sits in the front of the class. And what do you think will happen next? So what will happen as a result of this conversation, do you think? So this is just an opinion. Christian said the teacher is going to put her in front of the class. Good. And they hang up, so maybe they're on the phone. They would hang up the phone, of course. Maybe, Karen will go onto her Facebook group and complain about the teacher. Who knows what's going to happen? But hopefully, she'll get some more help at home. She'll sit in the front of the class. She'll start doing better in spelling and math. And then she'll go on to be Prime Minister of Canada or Daughther or something like that. So it's not too late for Grace to turn it around. That's the main thing. Great. So great answers. I don't know if we need to listen again. So does anybody need to listen again? If you really want to listen again, I guess you can go back to the recording, which are always available on YouTube and Facebook. So if you go to YouTube, rewatch that part, listen carefully for those answers if you weren't able to get it the first time. And then, you can practice it as many times as you want that way. And don't forget to subscribe while you're there. We're working towards 250 subscribers. So that's a big milestone that I really want to get to. If you have friends who are interested in these lessons, you can ask them to subscribe too. I think that's pretty much it for today. So we're running out of time. We had a great discussion. We learned some vocabulary. We did a reading activity. We worked on our grammar. And then we did a great listening activity. So we got a ton of practice with English today. Next time, we will have class on Thursday. We're going to talk about elections and voting because I don't know if you know, but Canada, we have a big election coming up next week on Monday. So that will be the topic of our lesson on Thursday. You was, you were, you was. I'm not sure what you're saying, Najman, but we would say you were instead of you was. And as always, here's our website. You can register for a city tour, see our old lessons, send me an email, info@rightstartcanada.ca. Sign up for a newsletter. There's lots of stuff going on there. I want to thank you guys so much for coming. I will see you guys on Thursday. We'll talk about elections, learn some good vocabulary, learn what elections are like here in Canada, and we'll discuss a little bit about politics. Okay, thank you guys. You're very welcome, Maria. Thank you, Najman, for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you again next time. You're welcome, Bay. Thank you for coming. You're welcome, Jimena. Thank you. And you're welcome very, very much, Christian. Okay, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.